Hi everyone, welcome back to another episode of Providend's Money Wisdom Podcast. I'm your host, Isaac, Client Advisor at Providend. Today's episode is the third chapter of our mini-series titled The Story of Our Clients' Wealth Journey. In our first episode, we talked about who our clients typically are, their concerns, and their need for a trusted wealth advisor. And in our previous episode, we talked about the potential reasons for the lack of trust in the advisory industry. Despite the nature of the industry, the need for sound wealth advice is still there. We also talked about how some of our clients were initially skeptical when they first met us. This could stem from bad experiences or simply because they were expecting a product sales pitch from us. In today's episode, we'll be discussing how Providend was set up to be the trusted advisor to our clients, to allow us to guide them through a minefield of misinformation with honest, independent, and competent advice. Join with me today is Tan Chin Yu, Advisory Team Lead at Providend. Hi Chin Yu, great to see you again.
Hi Zach, nice to see you too.
Okay, so let's just jump right into it. Okay, so Chin Yu, to be a trusted advisor, what characteristics must one possess?
Well, I think there's two things. One is authority, the other one is empathy. So we must have the authority so that we can guide the clients, and then have the empathy so that we can understand the clients. And that's important before anything can happen. Before we can actually properly, advise the clients what to do. And what I mean by authority, as a definition, it means that it is an expert that in their role with extensive or specialized knowledge about a subject, and you want to have that deep experience to advise on it. Okay, and secondly, about empathy is you want to be able to share someone's feelings or experiences in that situation without having any judgment or motive.
Thanks, Chin Yu. So maybe let's unpack more on the area of authority first. So what gives the trusted advisor and the authority to guide the client?
Firstly, having the knowledge, and secondly, having the experience. So when I talk about knowledge, because there is so many things in the wealth advisory space.
Right.
I mean, there's insurance, there's investments, and even when it comes to insurance, there's, people talk about term versus whole life. Investments, whether you invest in the US market, China, do you market time, what's the economy like, whether you want to go local. And even beyond these two, I think, insurance and investments are the two common ones. But in the holistic wealth plan, there's still an estate plan. Tax implications, that can be quite a big one. Of course, Singapore, it's not that not that complicated, but sometimes it involves overseas jurisdiction that needs certain amount of expertise as well. There are other things, retirement, there's the role of CPF, and CPF can change along the way, as we all know. Retirement income strategies. You talk about whether it's the dividend strategy, whether you use bonds, whether you use a drawdown, whether it's a 4% drawdown rule. How robust is all of these? So there's so many areas that it's important that you want to have good enough knowledge about it. And it's virtually impossible for any one single person to have all of this knowledge, especially when there's always new product changes. And not only I'm talking about insurance product changes, investment, but even CPF, as we recently saw. So for us, it's important that we have that collective knowledge as a firm, and we call this an institutionalized practice. So for us, what this means is that we have teams of different experts, and they look after different aspects of the wealth plan. So for example, we have an investment team. An investment team will look at the right instruments, how does it fit within our investment philosophy, the right partners we want to work with, how do we construct a portfolio. So these are the things that the investment team needs to look at for our clients. But of course, investment team doesn't know the client. And same goes for solutions team. They are the ones that look at what are the available solutions out there, whether it's insurance products, whether it's tax solutions, whether it's certain framework that guides certain retirement strategies. So I mentioned earlier that these teams don't know our clients personally. So that's the job of the advisor. So the advisor then can focus on really getting to know the clients better. you want to know the clients on a deeper level and create the wealth plan that really aligns with what's most important to our clients. Yeah, so that means conducting live conversations, having a lot more understanding of our clients.
Asking good questions.
Yes, asking good questions. Sometimes these questions are things that the clients don't even ask themselves. So it takes certain amount of skill set also to ask the right questions and to really understand how best to craft this plan for our clients. Yeah, so like I said, the trusted advisor must not only have this knowledge, but also have the ability to translate all of these, everything he has captured, into a holistic and coherent wealth plan.
Thanks, Chin-Yu. So having extensive knowledge is definitely very important when it comes to advising our clients. But besides individual and, as you mentioned, collective knowledge, are there any factors to having authority?
Yeah, apart from what I mentioned earlier, there's also the factor of having the experience.
Right.
Because it's not just the experience of the advisor, but also the collective experience of the firm itself. Yeah, so for us, we talk about heritage. And what I mean by heritage is, for one, we are Singapore and Southeast Asia first fee-only wealth advisory firm. And what I mean by that is that we know the shortcomings of the industry. Since day one, we know how the fee-only model works and why it is beneficial for our clients. We've done it before. I mean, it's not to say that everything has been smooth sailing from day one, but after more than 20 years in this industry, we have the experience to know what work and what don't work. And like I said, we've been through the ups and downs of the markets. We have been through the global financial crisis, the COVID pandemic, and these are not easy times to be in, but at least we learn from these experiences to know how we can better provide the right advice for our clients. So Providend, collectively as an advisory firm, we don't just have the knowledge. We know in this whole body of knowledge what work and what don't work, and then we can use that to apply it to give the right advice for our clients.
Right. I appreciate that you brought this point up, in terms of collective experience of the firm. Because for myself, I've been in the industry for about 6 years. And even though I've accumulated, I think, quite a fair bit of knowledge and experience on an individual level, really you can't compare with our seniors, right, who have been through many ups and downs, the GFC. I mean, of course, COVID is more recent, but, along the years, there's also many different crises that occur that they have experience in and I don't, right? So, but because we are an institutionalized practice, I'm able to tap onto their collective wisdom, right, and experience. So, they know what works and what don't, and what doesn't. So this allows me to provide advice, I think, that upholds the consistent level of quality that is expected throughout our firm.
Yeah, I think you bring up a good point. It is true that while the firm itself have more than 20 years of experience with our clients, we do have new advisors coming in. And in a way, that's why it's important that we have different teams, investment team, solutions team that guides the framework on how to better advise our clients. And of course, there's training as well. But behind all of that, it's important that we have certain philosophies about how we think about different aspects. So we have 3 main philosophies. One is our insurance philosophy. When it comes to insurance, it's always a cost. So therefore, we want to cover as much as possible, cover what is actually needed for our clients with as little as possible. So again, we don't want to overbuy certain insurance, but of course, at the same time, we understand that it's an important aspect of our clients. When it comes to investment philosophy, in the same way that it's so important to have that, because when it comes to investment, you can't just, try to go a certain way, it doesn't work, you just keep changing and switching, because there's only one chance. You can't be investing for 20 years, and if it doesn't work, then you can't go back in time.
Right, we cannot make too many mistakes in investing, right?
Exactly. So there needs to be a consistent approach when it comes to how we invest. And for us, we look at the 4 pillars of investment framework. So the first pillar is economic contribution. So when it comes to us, when it comes to investments, what's important is that the investment instrument needs to have an economic driver behind the returns. It cannot be based on price speculation, for example. So that's important, pillar number one. And number two is the empirical evidence. When we invest, we always ask what's the evidence behind this approach and how robust it is. Yeah, we need very strong evidence before we are convinced that they are suitable for our portfolios. Yeah. Then the third one is implementation. Implementation is how do you want to implement it? Whether there's diversification, even there's economic contribution. What are the other important considerations, before you can actually implement it? And I mentioned diversification is a big one factor.
Cost as well. Yeah.
Cost also. And practical considerations. You can have all these factors, but how practical is it? How liquid are all these instruments? And cost, again, it's a big factor. Yeah, so that's investment philosophy. And the third philosophy for us is the philosophy of sufficiency. So for that, it might not be that obvious. When you think about sufficiency, and when people think of sufficiency, we don't want people to think of there's no choice. No choice that I have to accept certain things. So how we define the philosophy of sufficiency is that it is a philosophy of having enough. It's a philosophy of contentment. It is not the passive acceptance of things. You don't just accept, there's no choice, I just accept things. But rather, it's an active pursuit of what's most important. So firstly, you need to understand what's important to you, and knowing that you can't have everything in life. Yeah, it's just impossible. But you want to be very intentional so that you can get what is most important to you, and then that's good enough. And this actually requires time to think. Yeah, it requires time to think really what are the trade-offs you are willing to go through in life, figure out what's most important. And then you want to have that to help you make these life decisions. We call it life decisions, or also known as ikigai decisions. And we always say you need to make these decisions first, and then arrange your life, your financial life, to help you best support these decisions. It can't be the other way around. It can't be that, okay, I'm going to invest in certain things, and okay, then I'm trying to see what that instrument is going to give the kind of life that I want. Yeah. So again, why I say all that is that it's not easy. It's not, again, just investing for the future. And sometimes it means also spending money on the things that is important to you today that you can't put off in the future. And one example is really, for example, spending time with your children.
Our popular Retire Well ebook has been updated. Retire Well is a methodology that Providend has developed to design a retirement income plan that will provide you with a safe and reliable stream of income for the rest of your life. Check out the link in the show notes to download a complimentary copy of the full ebook today. Thank you, and let's get back to the episode.
Right. So yeah, moving the goalpost is something that a lot of people do. But only when you really think about it, you're like, oh yeah, just a few years ago I was expecting this. So making sure that the goalposts don't keep shifting is definitely something that is also very important. Right. So thanks for the extensive breakdown of what it means to have authority. Right. But is authority alone enough to become, or rather to be a trusted advisor?
Well, authority is important, but it's definitely not enough. The other factor that is important is having empathy. So I mentioned earlier at the start, authority and empathy. And having empathy might not be that easy. There are certain people who maybe it comes more natural to them. Yeah. But it's still important to have that empathy if you are going to be a trusted advisor. Yeah. Why it might be difficult, because sometimes having the authority, you can be oblivious or jaded to clients' feelings. Sometimes having the authority can be a bit of a curse as well, because sometimes you might be a bit arrogant and proud to feel that, well, I know everything. Clients might have certain concerns, and tell them that, well, you don't worry, I've seen this before, don't worry. But the fact is that clients worry, and it's important that you want to understand why clients are worried, where it stems from, and then you can be that that good trusted advisor to help guide them along the way. So, to give an example, it can be a doctor. A very experienced doctor, where you go and see him. Tell him, doctor, I've got all these concerns, I got all these things. And doctor, look at you, Isaac, I've seen many cases before. Don't worry, your concerns are
invalid.
Invalid, yeah, exactly, invalid. I was trying to find the right word. And he dismisses your concerns and worries because he's seen these cases many, many times. So while he has that authority over you, he has that knowledge, he knows what to do, but you don't feel seen or feel heard. Yeah, and from there, it is very difficult to really follow his advice.
Right. Yeah, sometimes we try not to, we know what's the most rational answer, but sometimes reasonable is something that our clients will be happier to go with.
Yeah. Bringing back to, the wealth advisory, I mentioned the example of a doctor, but it's the same for wealth advisory. Our clients come to us, they have certain concerns, they want to address certain needs. And even though we have seen it many times, everyone's financial situation is unique. Yeah, they are all very different. Their concerns are unique. Their money values growing up is very different as well. Their challenges, their past. These are the things that is important for the advisor to understand. So therefore, it is important to find somebody who would listen to you, who understands you, who are curious enough to ask the right questions, and they want to find out how you think, why you think of a certain way, why do you have these concerns, and your past experiences. So there's this quote by this person called Tim Maurer that personal finance is more personal than finance. It's very personal. And sometimes it's not just optimizing the finances, optimizing the investments, but really giving the clients a peace of mind, knowing that I'm best utilizing this resource to give me the life that I want. So like, I think Evelyn mentioned in the past episode, your personal finance is a very private matter that can be very sensitive. Sometimes it can be very vulnerable. And to be able to share that with an advisor, and sometimes it's a very new relationship. To be able to share that with someone, you want to make sure that the advisor makes you feel heard and understood. So from a firm standpoint, while many people can and they will copy our form, our knowledge, even some of our experiences, which is relating to authority, but the substance is important. So substance meaning that you want to be able to have that skill, have the empathy to ask good questions, to understand and make the clients feel that they are heard.
Right, and it's also important for us to have empathy to craft the wealth plan that really reflects their values and is really very personalized and bespoke to them.
Yeah, exactly.
Right. Okay, so lastly, at Providend, we always talk about culture, right? So Chris, our CEO, is all about culture. So how does culture fit into Providend? Specifically, how does culture fit into Providend being a trusted advisor?
Yeah, for us, culture is important. How that translates to the experience our clients get is the consistency. Yeah, so being consistent in our advice is really important. So at Providend, just to share, our culture is being defined as our core values plus corporate purpose. Yeah, so core values plus corporate purpose. And firstly, we want to make sure that the right people join us. Yeah, the right people who will fit in our culture, who have the same intentions, same purpose, and when they come, they inculcate our core values and purpose, which is really to give our clients honest, independent, and competent advice. Yeah, so that's very important. If they come in with a different motive, then it's really hard for the culture to try to shape them to give a certain consistent advice. So when you're in a community where everyone is of the same mind, that believes in doing the right things for our clients, I think we support each other very well and we keep each other accountable. And that's how we ensure that trusted advice is properly given out to our clients. So for example, if I put you, Isaac, in a firm that don't share the same values as you, you'll definitely struggle. So, for example, if you want to do the right things for your clients, you want to find the right instrument. Sometimes the right instruments might not be the most lucrative for the firm. Then your colleagues will be asking, Isaac, why
so stupid?
Yeah.
Why are you wasting your time doing all this extra work for your clients? It's not really helping you in terms of your compensation, for example.
Yeah, exactly. Why are you doing all these? It doesn't give you more money. You definitely struggle there because you feel that you don't belong. But if you are in the right group of people, like for example in Providend now, when you do certain things, for example recommending a term product for our clients, because it is the most suitable for our clients, it helps them the best, even though it doesn't help, in terms of whether it's a compensation, whether it's a commission to the firm. People will support you. People will celebrate that you're doing the right things. And that's very important.
Like teaching our clients how to buy T-bills, when the interest rate went up.
Yeah.
Even though it's not the T-bills is held by them, it's not managed by us, but it's something that we feel that it could benefit our clients. We actually had a training about how to teach our clients how to buy T-bills, for example.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and in fact, while we always say that a fee-only advice helps eliminate as much as possible the conflict of interest, it is a fact that there's always conflict of interest anywhere. Whether it's the work that we do for clients, for us, like you said, when we recommend clients to do certain T-bills, we don't earn anything. But it is the culture that's important, in doing the right things for our clients. So, like I said, community is very important. A strong culture ensures that the trusted advice can be delivered yesterday, today, and every day.
Okay, thanks, Chin Yu. So I hope that through this episode, people will come to realize that having a trusted guide in their financial life is very important in terms of helping them achieve their life goals and aspirations.
Well, my pleasure. Thanks for having me.
Yeah. Okay, so to all our listeners, in the next few episodes, we'll be breaking down our wealth process and walk through the thinking behind why certain steps were taken to ensure that the best wealth plan can be delivered to our clients. So as some of you may know, our wealth planning process typically takes at least 8 weeks to complete, which is longer as compared to what is the usual industry practice. So to find out why that is so, don't forget to follow and subscribe to not miss out on any future episodes. As always, thank you for listening and watching, and I'll see you in the next episode.
All analysis, views, or opinions from interviews, recommendations, and other information broadcasted, podcasted, or published herein are provided for general information purposes only. Information expressed does not take into account any specific situation, particular needs, or objectives, and should not be construed as specific advice or recommendation. Information has been obtained from sources that are deemed to be reliable, but their accuracy and completeness cannot be guaranteed. Always consult with a qualified investment, legal, or tax professional before taking any action. Providend Limited does not accept any liability or any loss whatsoever arising from any use of the information broadcasted, or published herein. All contents and information contained herein may not be copied or reproduced in whole or in part by any means without prior written consent of Providend Limited.